Okay, so we're going to move on into some color correction techniques. So we're going to look at using levels and using color balance on this image. So the interesting things about levels is that you can use levels on color images as well as black and white images. And oftentimes when I'm fixing an image, one of the first things I do is fix the levels. So that's the lights, midtones, and darks inside of the image. And when you can dial that down, it puts you on the right path to fixing the rest of the problems with the image. So as you can see here, this image is really faded. We're going to go over and we're going to apply an adjustment. Now remember, when you apply an adjustment, I can apply it from 3 different places. If I go to image and apply the adjustment from up here, it's going to be nailed onto the artwork. And that's undesirable, okay? Because if I want to go back and change it, I really can't. And what you want to do when you work in Photoshop is get used to making edits where you have more control over going back and modifying them later, a non-destructive method of editing your image. And you want to do that with using layer masks and other techniques as much as possible. This is one of those situations. I can call up that same adjustment from my layers palette, click the half moon symbol, half circle, and go down and pull up levels. I can also go over to adjustments on the right and pull up levels. Either of those on the right is preferable to using the menu at the top. And so you can see here when I pull this levels out and you see what's happening here, these are the darks in this image, these are the midtones, and these are the lights. You can see it's not evenly distributed. And what I want to do is I want to evenly distribute the lights, midtones, and darks. So I grab that and drag that in like that, grab this and pinch this in like that, and then I can adjust the midtone. In this case, I'm actually going to drag the midtone to the right a little bit and make those midtones a little darker. And that's dialed in the image and improved it already. I'm going to close that. Now, remember that the reason why we want to use the levels from that layers or from the adjustments is that it makes a new layer that I can modify. I can double click and reactivate that and continue to edit it if I want. And I can even go into that mask and paint into that mask. We're not going to do that today, but I can. And that's very powerful, very helpful. So now what I want to do is I want to balance the color. And what we'll do is I'm going to go through in a next session and show you what all the image adjustments are for. Right now we're going to use one called color balance. We're going to go over, looks like the scales of justice. I'm going to click on that. And what I'm trying to do is find, so what you're literally doing with color balance is you're balancing cyan against red, or magenta against green, or yellow against blue. So you can think of this 2 ways. Is if there's too much red in the picture, I can move it away from red towards cyan. If there's too much green in the picture, I can move it away from green towards magenta. If there's too much blue in the picture, I can move it away from blue towards yellow. Or I can think of it as, I want to add more red, I want to add more green, or more blue. So I'm going to grab that cyan red slider, and I'm going to slide that away from the red. And I think that it was too red. And I want to get those. Now, when you're editing a picture and there's a person in the picture, what you want to do is correct for the skin tone. I want those, nobody really cares what color the water is, unless you're doing a product placement where there's a product and a person, and you have to correct for both of those things. You just want to correct for that skin tone. And then I'm looking at the magenta and the green, and I think I like it better, a little bit greener. This is what it looks like, more magenta. Some people like that. I think I like it a little bit more green. Then I have the yellow and blue, and I'm going to pull it away from the yellow and towards the blue. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to close that. Now, there's some tears and scratches on the surface. I'm going to show you a bunch of different techniques for modifying tears and scratches. I'm going to go down to the background, and what I want to do is I want to today, what we're going to do is we're going to use the clone stamp tool to remove these scratches on the surface. I'm going to grab my clone stamp tool, I'm going to go up and I want to sample just the current layer. I don't want to sample the color balance or the levels. I just want to sample the bottom layer. I'm in the bottom layer, so I'm only editing the bottom layer. Then I hold on the Alt key, pick up a clean spot, and paint over the scratches. And after I paint over all the scratches, I'm not going to sit here and paint over all the scratches. I can run a smooth, a blur, and soften those areas so that it looks a little bit more homogeneous. And I can change the size of the brush, and I can just keep painting over here until I get it all smoothed down. Okay, and I could do that over the whole photo. I won't bore you with that, but that's basically the way I would go about fixing an image like this. All right, let's stop there.